GKS allowance? Is the allowance enough for me to live? What's up, fangirls and fanboys? This is Ruth and welcome back to A Fangirl's Heart channel. I know it's been a long time since I created a sit-down video like this, and I haven't been posting long-form videos here on my YouTube channel, and I'm really sorry for that. It's just that I have been so busy for the past couple of months, and I was really trying to adjust with the graduate studies. If you follow me on my TikTok account, since I post more on TikTok, I am already on my graduate program, which is film production, and I am currently struggling with my studies, mainly because I am not yet that fluent in speaking Korean and understanding Korean. And yes, my whole class is Korean since I'm a Korean track, and it's really been a struggle for me, especially when writing scripts, understanding what the professor wanted for us. So I really have to make an effort to submit all my requirements. Anyway, for today's video, I will be talking about one of the questions that I always receive. It's about the GKS allowance. Is it enough to live in South Korea? If you see me looking at my left side, I actually have my script here. It's because I wanted to make sure that I'm not talking a lot and going out of the topic. Although I am doing sit-down videos like this, talking in front of the camera, I am still not confident with my speaking skills. In this video, I have 3 points to talk about. One is how much we receive. Second is my personal budget, since a lot of you are questioning me because I attend a lot of concerts. And lastly is like my money saving tips. If you're interested in this topic, then continue watching it. If you have watched some videos or if you have read some experiences of Global Korea Scholarship recipients, you may know that when we arrived here in South Korea, we did not receive our allowance or even the settlement allowance immediately. We still have to wait until our banks are finished, and some even have to wait until their ARC or their IDs have been given to them in order for them to create a bank account. I am very much thankful for Dongso University because when we arrived here at Dongso University, we immediately fixed our bank accounts, and the bank here allowed us to open an account even if we still do not have our ARC. So that's why we were told that we should prepare at most or at least 2 months worth of living expenses before coming here to South Korea. So I actually prepared like 100,000 Philippine pesos. In Korean won, it's around 2.3 million Korean won, I guess. Just to be safe, I prepared that amount of money because I don't want to get hungry in a different country. Some universities actually require you to pay the dormitory fees immediately, so you really have to spend more money than that. That's why before applying for the Global Korea Scholarship, make sure you have at least a decent amount of savings as well, because you don't know what may happen when you come here to South Korea. A little fast forward when we arrived to South Korea. At that time, it was 2023, so I received 1,200,000, which includes our monthly allowance, the 1 million Korean won, and the 200,000, which is the settlement allowance. Let's talk about my first 6 months here in South Korea. This is how my first 6 months budget. Most of the time I am able to do this, but there are also some months that I wasn't able to follow my budget. For my first 6 months, the portion that takes the most in my budget is food, which is 400,000 Korean won, mainly because I do not cook. Before coming here to South Korea, I really do not know how to cook. So I always eat out, and eating out means spending more money. That's why my budget for food is really big. For the dorm, since I was paying the dorm also, I'm taking out 220,000 Korean won monthly. For the dorm payment, usually it's paid in bulk. Like for a whole semester, you're going to pay for the dormitories. So instead of shocking myself and like paying for 600,000 immediately in just one payment, I save monthly so that it won't be that big or that hard for me when I have to pay for my dormitories again. Transportation, or like the tea money, I allotted like 60,000 Korean won, since I also do not go out much, but then there are times that when I go to Seoul, that's why I allotted that amount of money for transportation. SIM card. In order for me to use the internet or to text or to call someone, I'm paying around 20,000 Korean won. This is a little bit big as well, bigger than my necessities. I put a budget also for my travel, hobbies, and K-pop, which is 200,000 Korean won per month. The reason why I put this as 200,000 Korean won is because the tickets are also expensive. And then the last thing, which is really funny because this category should have a bigger amount, but then I don't know with myself. The last category is necessities, which is 100,000 Korean won. So that is my budget during my first 6 months here in South Korea. During our first 6 months here in South Korea, we receive our allowance in advance. For example, our allowance for September, we receive it on the last day of August, on the last day of the month. But then after 6 months, they changed the regulation. So starting March, if I'm not mistaken, our allowance became every 20th of the month. But for this time, for example, our March allowance, instead of receiving it on February, we are going to receive it on the 20th of March. So it was a little bit delayed. And at the same time, there were also some changes with the allowance. We have been receiving 1 million Korean won for the past 6 months. After that regulation change, it became 1,175,000 Korean won. But here's the twist. Everything, like the health insurance, the topic fees, everything is already included there in the 1,175,000. Because before, if we want to take the topic, we will be the one paying it first, and then we have to submit it to the school that we took the topic, and then they will refund our money. But for the new regulation, they changed it. That's why our allowance increased. Note that this is for language students. The graduate students have 1,308,330 Korean won. There's a little bit of a difference, but since I was still in my language class before, we received 1,175,000 Korean won. After the small increase, there were just a few changes with my budget, but it's still almost the same. And now, since I'm already taking my master's degree, my allowance increased. I have adjusted my budget. I was also trying to cook little by little, so my budget somehow changed. So here is my new budget. Before, I spend like around 400,000 in food, but now I'm aiming for like 250,000 to 300,000 Korean won monthly. If I cook frequent, then I reach around like 250,000 per month. But then if I have to eat outside, and because if I am busy and I don't have time to cook, I go beyond 250,000. Aside from that, I also have the health insurance, which is like around 75,000 to 80,000 Korean won. I'm just estimating this because I cannot remember the exact amount I am paying monthly. And then for my transportation, I still limit it to 60,000 Korean won, even though I have to go to Centum City because my campus is not here in Jurye, so I have to travel going to my campus. But there are times, like especially during BIFF or the Busan International Film Festival, where I was almost every day in my campus. During that time, my travel fees doubled. For SIM card, it's still the same. It's 20,000 Korean won. And then for travel, hobbies, K-pop, I increased it a little bit. It became 300,000 Korean won, mainly because all the groups that I like are so active as of the moment. Necessities, I also increased my budget into 250,000 Korean won. The last one is savings. Good thing I am able to save now. For my savings, it's 250,000 Korean won. One of the things I'm saving for is for my film, my short film, because one of the requirements as a film student to create a short film, it's like our thesis. Is the allowance enough for me to live? For me, the stipend is enough for my daily living. It's just that sometimes I overspend with my K-pop and travel stuff. So there are times that I have to use my personal money, but I am actually limiting myself, and I'm really trying not to use that except for emergencies. If you're in Seoul, expenses like dorm and food can be a little bit higher. Dorm fees in the universities differ, so it can also be higher. My budget doesn't mean that it should also be your budget. If you love to eat out, travel a lot, attend K-pop concerts, of course, the allowance won't be enough. But if you know how to budget it properly, then I think it's more than enough. Really, the key here is to know your lifestyle and then budget wisely. Anyway, so I already mentioned how much we receive, and my personal budget for this time is some money saving tips. If you're a fangirl like me, I know saving is hard. One of my money saving tip is that to create a separate account wherein that account is something that you won't be able to see immediately. For my case, I have two banks. One is like where I put my savings, and one is the bank that I use for my daily expenses. My second tip is that after receiving your allowance, make sure to take out the savings immediately. If you will not take out your savings immediately, it will really be hard to save. And then lastly, think about the things before you buy. One of my goals this 2025 is to buy less, especially with albums, clothes. I actually have a lot of this. I no longer know where to put this stuff, so it's better to think twice before buying it. Anyway, so if you reached up until the end of this video, thank you so much. I really hope that you somehow got an idea about budgeting here in South Korea as a GKS scholar. If you're planning to apply for the Global Korea Scholarship, make sure to be prepared as well financially, because it's not that easy. If you have any more questions, just leave it on the comments below and I will try to answer those things. I really hope that I can create more contents, more videos, more long-form videos like this in the future, so please pray for me as well. Oh, and by the way, I create short videos on TikTok, so just in case you're interested in watching my daily life, it's here on TikTok. Again, this is Ruth, and thank you so much for watching. Annyeong!